hold up. It's that boy G-Plans. Don't give a damn. He cooler than a fan. Walking real tall, some say he's a man.
And I couldn't imagine. But look, Greg, we out here.
Yeah.
And I want to. It's crazy how God brought this together, because I just saw you like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
You say, man, let's do the interview.
The matter of fact, I did the interview that Thursday. I seen you that Monday.
Yeah.
At Shopper Light. I'm all out the window.
Let's do the interview.
I'm all out the window. Let's do the interview.
And it's crazy, like this day is special. Exactly 10 years.
10 years to the day. 10 years.
You had an accident. We graduated.
We graduated 10 years ago this night.
It's crazy.
The last thing I ever walked across was the stage.
Wow.
Was the graduation stage.
And I want to say this too, for the people who don't know, well, some people who do know. 11 years ago, Letty got murdered too. Yeah. On a Wednesday.
Yeah. Same day, just 1 year previous.
Yes.
Just 1 year previous, and being connected with block builders and being connected with Trina, you know, that's something that's heavy on her. So we try to support her in that. Yeah. That today a hard day for me, it's a hard day for her, but it's also a beautiful day because we still here.
Yes, you are so correct. You are so correct. Here. I want to go straight into it, man. You from Natchez?
Yeah, I'm actually from Clutcherville. But you can say I'm from Natchez because I've been up here every day all my life.
And it's in Natchez Parish.
Yeah, it's Natchez Parish. Yeah, yeah.
So how was it like growing up in Natchez for you?
It was cool. I loved it. I loved growing up. I loved my childhood because being young and being in the country, we was just running wild down there in the country. Then when we got older, going to Central, man, we was wide open. But it was fun though. I loved growing up down here. It was close knit. Everybody was cool. Like I ain't have a lot of enemies and stuff, so I just had fun. My whole high school experience was fun.
Yeah, and for me, for the people, I was just a cool guy. You know, I wasn't into sports. I was small. I always been a cool guy. I used to see you. I don't know if we had PE together, but I remember you because you played ball when PE, and I used to see you around and stuff like that. But high school, and since this happened when it was in high school was fun for me as well. But I want to go straight. I want to go straight to it, man. Before you experienced this tragic incident in your life, like was it like I was a bad guy, I was a cool guy? Because you know, like it's in high school, it was all type of dudes, and you got cats, you got bullies, you got the athletes, you got the cats dealing with the drugs, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't saying incriminate yourself, none of that, but like talk to him. Like what type of guy were you doing that time before this happened? But
before this happened, I'd say I was very prideful, man. I wasn't a bad guy. I was because I'm gonna say I have a strong base, a strong foundation in that I was raised in a two-parent household. And you know, most people ain't blessed to just be able to be raised with both a mother and a father figure. And both of them are very spiritual and very religious, and the religion is Christianity. So I was raised in a Christian household. So I always had that foundation of faith and knowing right from wrong. But at the same time, you know, being young and being in high school, there were certain things and certain people I was running with, and I just wanted to have fun and you know, do me. But I wasn't a bad guy. I say I was just a cool, chill guy during high school. So I mean, I did some things that I'm not proud of, but I say overall I was good. I was a good guy. Yeah.
And that's cool. And I want to say this too. For today, I was looking at the news earlier, and I don't know what caused it, but earlier today it had 3 people had a wreck coming from graduation practice. 1 passed away, and the other 2 were in critical condition. But they didn't list the details of why the wreck occurred. Yeah. And it's crazy. I saw that, and I'm preparing to come talk to you about a similar incident, even though you experienced it graduation night. But I want you to take us back to that day. Do you remember that day, how you felt when you got up this morning? I'm about to graduate today. Like, can you walk us through?
Speaking on that, let me just speak on graduation practice, because you know, before graduation we had that thing where they bring out the wrecked cars to Central. I remember that day, and they telling us about this could happen. Be careful, be cautious. And I remember to this day I was laughing at the fact that there was 50 box cigars and a fifth of Hennessy on the dashboard of the wrecked car. Now, they got the actors in there laying slumped and stuff, and I'm just sitting there like, they got a 50 box and a half and a fifth of hen on the day. They finna get lit. I'm just sitting there, I'm thinking my mind is in the whole wrong place. And then I go to graduation and it happened to me. And I sit back and I think on, I should have paid attention. So I encourage all students, when you go to that, pay attention, because don't think it can't happen to you, because it can. But
and right now, man, during this time, these kids are different. They on all type of stuff.
It's a whole new generation.
All of them, Molly, weed.
They have access. They have access to way more. They have access to way more, and they also have access to way more knowledge than we have. Because back in the day, we had to be told by somebody. Because we didn't necessarily, we had internet, but we got that late in life. They have it starting off at 8, 9 years old, however old they can work a tablet. So anything they want to know, boom, Google. They know it. Anything they want to know how to do, boom, YouTube. They can watch a video on how to do it. So they just, it's a different generation because they being exposed to so much so early. But going back to graduation night, how I felt that day, I was turned. Because, you know, we graduated on that Saturday.
No, it's Friday. What?
It was. I believe it was a Saturday, but it could have been a Friday. Whatever day it was either Friday or Saturday. That previous day, I stayed out. I had to work, and I would work at. I was working at 3J's 4-Way in Cypress, and my shift was 1 to 9 every day. So when I got off at 9 the previous day before we graduated, I said, well, I'm graduating tomorrow. I'm finna go hard all night. And just stayed out, partied all night. Got up, you know, at what, 7 or 8 that morning to go to graduation practice. You know, we had to go to practice. Okay, so they went to that the whole rest of the day, just doing whatever I wanted to do that night, walked across the stage. And I was so happy, I was so turned. And I was so ready to get like, after graduation, I was so ready to get in the street and do what I wanted to do that I didn't even take a picture with my family. I don't have one picture in my cap and gown with my family. The only picture I have from graduation night was taken by Brian Lawrence, his family. Wow. So it's a picture with him. I don't even have a picture that my mom could like put up or anything like that. That's how much of a rush I was to get out of there. And then that happened. But what happened was, after graduation, you know, I was doing whatever I wanted to do, and then I had work that next morning. Instead of my 1 to 9 shift that I usually had, they had scheduled me to work from 5 to 1. So I'm trying to make it back after graduation night. I'm trying to make it back home so I can go to work the next morning. And the reason that was so important, to go back to me saying what I said about having a father figure, I always seen my daddy go to work. Never seen him miss work. He could be sick, and he got to be sick as a dog to the point of death for him to miss work. So in my mindset is just, I'm going to work no matter what. If I can go, I'm gonna go. I got my first job at 15 and worked all the way till I was 18. So working was ingrained in me. I was gonna go to work that next morning. So even though I'm knowing, man, I've been up all weekend, I've been partying, I'm tired, I'm still gonna try to make it home. So in the process of that, you know, I said I live in Clucherville. That's 21 miles, roughly about 25 to 30 minutes, depending on how you drive from Natchitoches. I made it past Cypress, and I was about in Derry. So I say I was about 10 to 15 minutes away from home. I started getting sleepy, and I kind of doze off, and I'm noticing that I'm going off the side of the road. And on Highway 1 there too, on both sides of the road, they have steep embankments. So I'm noticing I'm going off the side of the road. And when I wake up and see it, my first instinct is to overcorrect. So I swerve back this way. And I wasn't in my car, I was in my mom's car that night because my car was in the shop. And she drove a Grand Vitara Suzuki at that time, Suzuki Grand Vitara. And it was a SUV, and it was top heavy. So as soon as it hit that embankment, when I overcorrected, it rolled. And it flipped about 3 times, and it threw me out of the driver's side window.
Like, do you, like, while that was happening, do you remember why?
I was conscious. I never lost my consciousness at that time. So it was rolling, and I remember being in the car while it's rolling, and then all of a sudden I'm outside the car on the ground. Now my first reaction is, I just got in a wreck, let me try to get up. I went to stand up and I couldn't, but my mind didn't automatically go to worst case scenario. My back is messed up. It went to, I broke my legs. So I can't get up because I'm not thinking at that time, like, I'm not even thinking the fact that my toes ain't wiggling and stuff like that. I got so much adrenaline pumping, I'm not even feeling the pain. So I'm laying there on the side of the road. The car is about 15 feet away, 10 to 15 feet away. It's cars passing by on top of the road. Like I said, at this point, I'm down the embankment. And for the first 5 or 10 minutes, I just sat there and just screamed for help. And it's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Cars are passing on the top of the road going probably about 60, 65, and they got the music up. Nobody's seeing me, and they can't hear me. So I'm like, okay, this ain't gonna work. I gotta switch to plan B. So my plan B was get back to the vehicle, and the way it was facing with the headlights toward the road. So in my mind, I'm thinking, if I can get the headlights on or the emergency flashers or something, somebody will see it. So I begin to crawl on forearm crawl to the vehicle. And like I said, it's about 10, 15 feet away. So I make it to the vehicle, and the window that I came out of, the driver window, is busted out. So what I did was I grabbed the handle to open the door, pulled myself up as much as I could, grabbed the handle on the inside, and I pulled myself up in there, cut the emergency flashers on. And after that, that's when I had no more energy. I guess my adrenaline had pumped out. I remember just falling back like that. Yeah. And I woke up, it was probably about an hour later, there was a state trooper standing over me. And he asked me a question I'll never forget. He said, "Sir, are you okay?" And I was taken back. I said, "I do this every Saturday." That's what I told him, like, "Cause you gonna ask me if I'm okay? You see the car wrecked and I'm laying here like this." And I say, "Yes, sir, I'm okay. I do this every Saturday." Just being, just being, and they put me in the ambulance, you know. They life flighted me to LSU. I had emergency back surgery. I was in ICU for about a week. Then they transported me to Alexandria at the Rehabilitation Hospital, Health South. And I was in Health South for about 2 months. So from walking across the stage on May 16th, graduation night, it took me about 2 months and a week to make it home. Before I ever got back home.
And when I heard like the next day, y'all know Greg had a bad wreck? Like, what? We just with Greg yesterday. What you talking about? Yeah. I ain't believe it. You know what I'm saying? Because I like, and then like, you know, we get information different. Everybody assuming the worst. He might be dead. Well, we don't know what all the rumors were, but I was like, man, that's sad. Like, that's sad it happened. You know what I'm saying?
Let me take you back to the situation so you can see God in it. When I was through from the driver's side window, I had shattered basically my you know, you have levels to your spine, and it's C, your cervical, then it's your T, thoracic, then it goes to your L, your lumbar, then your S, your sacrum. And my L1 through L4 are the vertebrae that I messed up, and my L1 vertebrae actually exploded. It's called a shattered fracture. It just basically just exploded. So what they had to do was they had to take what was left and fuse L1 to L4. But that's my back damage. That's what caused the actual paralysis. I didn't sever my spinal cord, but the trauma from that injury caused it to swell up. And the swelling is what caused the nerve damage, and the nerve damage is why I can't walk. And if the camera could actually see, I can move my legs. Like, I have some movement in them if they can actually see. So that's a lot more than most people in wheelchairs can do. I can move everything but almost my ankles. But I had the nerve injury to my back. My shoulder blade was fractured. I had fluid on both lungs, and I had a concussion. So I'm laying there, and I had asked God, why? I always ask God why. Why did it have to happen? It's a question that's when you don't know. I'm an inquisitive person anyway, but for this situation to just happen like it did, it caused me to always ask God why, and for a long time it caused me to believe that he wasn't with me during that time, and that's why it happened. And during a revelation I had during a prayer with him, he said, you don't see me in the situation, but let me show you. He said, okay, you came out the driver window. He said, you landed with nerve damage, broke shoulder blade, fluid on your lungs, and a concussion. He said, you laid there and you tried to call for help. That didn't work. So he said, the next thing you do was you came up with a plan. He said, but how many people do you know with a concussion that can think clearly? He said, okay. So you crawled to the car. He said, at this point, your vertebrae is shattered. You have all this nerve damage. Your shoulder blade is fractured. How are you crawling? He said, I was pulling you to the car. He said, when you put your arm on there and you pulled up, he said, you can't put weight on especially on a freshly broken shoulder blade. He said, I put you up to the car and let you cut the emergency flashes on. And he said, then you fell out and you went to sleep. He said, the first thing they tell you to do when you have a concussion is don't go to sleep. So you went to sleep for over an hour and woke up immediately. And from then on, I could see him in the situation. But going through it, that was a revelation that I actually got earlier last year. Going through it, it was hell. Like I said, I was in the hospital for 2 months. Mine is ICU, and I have people that will come to me and tell me that they came and seen me in ICU and told me these things, and I don't even remember. I remember some people coming, but I was just in and out so much. And it not only, I want to say that it's very traumatic to the person that goes through it, because I hope this interview helps somebody that's going through this situation. Very traumatic to the person that goes through it. It's actually called traumatic experience. And whenever there's trauma in something, that means it's something that's going to be memorable, something that can affect your psyche. But not only did it traumatize me, it traumatized my family. And it took a long time for me to get out of my own self and get out of my own way and see how it affected them. It was $20,000, $20,000 or $25,000 just for the life flight to LSU, from Highway 1 to LSU. The back surgery I had was over $180,000. That's two things. That's not mentioning being in ICU for a week, being in Health South for 2 months, the things that I needed while I was in there. I put my parents in bad debt with this accident. It didn't just affect me, it affected them, it affected everybody. But going through it, they diagnosed me with depression. I had depression, and I was sitting there and I was just angry, I was upset. But one thing, they told me, they said, you have a 30 or 40% chance to walk again. And I was not having it. I was 18 years old. I said, you can't come in here and tell me that. Who are you to tell me that I'll never walk again, or that I have this small chance to walk again? I never believed it. And everything, even being depressed, I would force myself to do things. And people see me now, and they see me, they say I can move my legs a little bit. They know that I drive my own car. They know that I work, and I have a job, and I transfer myself. I live alone. Like, people don't do a lot for me. But I say, y'all come in at the mid part of the movie. You didn't see me at the beginning. When I first got hurt, I had to put a bolster behind my back just to be able to sit up straight. I didn't even have enough strength to sit like I'm sitting now. Any time that I was sitting up in a position that was vertical like this, had to wear a turtle shell back brace. I was paralyzed from the waist down because I was in what they call spinal shock. And spinal shock is when your vertebrae is still swollen, so they don't know how much movement is going to come back, how much you're going to get back. I couldn't control my bodily functions. I couldn't bath myself. Like, I had to, basically, I went from being an 18-year-old feeling like I was a man, had my own car, had a job, my own money, could go where I wanted to go, when I wanted to go, basically to going back to being a baby. And I said that was God's way of humbling me, because I was I was getting to the point where I thought I could do anything and everything, because that's just, like I said, I was having fun. I was having fun with life. I wasn't even thinking too much into it. I was just, if I want to do this, I'm going to do it. If I want to do that, I'm going to do it. But I had to be humble to know that everything I want to do, I can't do. So I went through that, and not being able to walk, I would try, I can't explain it. It's something that you can have knowledge of, but if you've never experienced it, then you won't understand completely. Just like, for example, I know about playing golf, but I don't play golf, so I don't have the experience of playing golf. I just know about it. So whenever somebody is in the wheelchair, I say, you can imagine how they feel, but you can't understand. You can't understand how it feels. And analogy I'll try to give is, you've been talking since before you can remember that you could talk. From your first memory, not what somebody told you, from your first memory yourself of you talking. You was talking then. Now just imagine tomorrow something happens to your vocal cords where you can't talk no more.
Yeah, that's crazy. I was gonna ask you this, man. Like when did it hit you? Like, oh my God, I can't walk.
It hit. Look, I was going into surgery. I was in ICU. I was getting ready for surgery, and they let my mom and dad and my little sister come back to see me before I went into surgery. And my dad is not a person that shows emotions. Now my mom and sister, they were very emotional, and they were telling me what the doctor said, like, they saying your back messed up. They didn't tell me I wasn't gonna be able to walk right then, but they telling me your back messed up. And I've only seen my dad cry twice that I can recall on my own. When I was 8, I was diagnosed with epilepsy, to have seizures. And I grew out of it when I was 14. But when I had my first seizure and they didn't know what it was, I seen my dad cry. I didn't see him cry again until that night in that room when they were saying that the doctor was telling them that my back was messed up. So just to see him cry, I knew that it was bad. But when I came out of surgery, I was in a 18-hour surgery, 18-hour back surgery. I was laying face down on the table so long that when I came to, I didn't have any skin right here. All the skin had been taken away by pressure, just the pressure of laying on it constantly. And then they told me that a doctor came in and said I had about a 30 or 40% chance to walk again. And of course I didn't believe it right then, but it sets in. And you start to, because automatically the first thing you're going to do is you're going to say, not me. Like, other people might not be able to walk, but I'm going to shake back. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It's going to come back to me. And you start, and you since it's you feel like a sense of everything's going to be okay. And it takes time to set in to know that this is a real situation. I was 18 when it happened. I'm 28 now. I still sometimes I'll look back and I'll say I made a mistake that changed my entire life, and that's a part of the reason that I do block builders with Trina.
And I was gonna ask you about that, like your role in block builders.
That's a part of why I do it, is to let the kids know that there are some mistakes that can be fixed, but there are some mistakes that you have to live with once they're made. So we try to direct them out of not making the mistakes. And in my role in block builders, I started doing therapy with him in Prism. That's how I met him, at the Prism Center. And he always would tell me, I'm part of this organization called Block Builders. You need to come. You need to come. And I was like, all right, man, I'm going to come. But, I kept putting it off. I had never told my story in public before that. And my little sister, she started going to Block Builders. And she wanted me to come one day. So just for her, I said I would come and I'd tell the story. So I went and I told my story, and it felt so good. Like, the kids that were there were so receptive of it, and it felt so good. I had never told it in public before anyway. It felt so good to just tell it, get it off my chest and tell everybody that I went that Thursday for block builders, and I haven't missed but maybe 1 or 2 Thursdays since then. But my role in it is just whatever they need. I lead. If I can help with transportation, I do that. But basically, it's just empower, uplift, and evolve. Empower, educate, and evolve the kids, the minds of the kids, to redirect and reform.
And it's man, like I'm back here behind this camera, like wow, this is my first time hearing the actual story. Of course, I knew what happened, but I didn't know like what you actually went through and stuff like that. Even throughout the years, I still see you was up, girl. You just keep doing your thing and stuff like that. But it's like
I always try, no matter how. And like I said, they diagnosed me with depression. I was very depressed. I got home and I was taking the medicine, and it made me feel weird. It just, the depression medicine gives you a weird feeling. I'm gonna speak for myself because I don't know for everybody else, but it just gave me this weird feeling, like I didn't like it. So I stopped taking it. So I said, even though I'm depressed, I still have to try to do what I can do. Now, pre-accident, my plan was to go to the military. A lot of people don't know, but my dream job was to be a Navy SEAL. And this is before the Bin Laden raid and all that, when they became famous. This was before people even knew who they was, when it was still clandestine and, you know, behind the scenes. That's what I wanted to be. My favorite person growing up was James Bond. I have all his movies, old, new. And so that's naturally what I sought to be. I said, man, I want to do that. But then I get in the accident. There ain't no walking, so I can't. So I had to take that dream, and Trina said all the time, we make plans, but God give purpose. Mm-hmm. So I had to let that plan go, but that's what I wanted to do. I never wanted to go to school. After high school, I didn't want to go back to college. That wasn't part of my plan, but it took me about 2 years. The accident happened in 2008. And it took me about 2 years just to get myself strong enough, mentally stable enough to just go to school. And I said, I'm going to go to school. And with the help of an agency called Louisiana Rehab Services, it's a service for people with disabilities in the state of Louisiana. And a lot of people don't even know about this resource, but they help. If you have a disability, it's a good chance that you qualify for it. And they help with all kind of things. They can help you find a job. If you want to go to school, they can help you go to school. It's just different avenues. It's a tool. And they used to have an office in Natchitoches, but so little people knew about it that they had to close the office down and move it to Shreveport. But long story short, through them I was able to go to school, and they actually paid for me to go to school. But during going to school, I had problems with that. I had pressure sores. And what a pressure sore is when you can't walk and you're sitting on your butt constantly. You ever felt that feeling when your foot go to sleep and it's tingling?
Oh, yeah.
Well, when you can't feel, you don't feel that feeling. So you don't know. That feeling lets you know it's time to get up. It's time to shake your foot. You got too much pressure on it. Move it. When you don't feel that, you don't know. And pressure will eat through your skin. And the thing about it is a pressure sore is like an iceberg. You can have a hole like this big in your skin, but it's tunneled. Wow. So the hole might be this big on the surface, but it might be this big in the tunnel. Wow. So twice I had to withdraw out of semesters to deal with pressure sores. Wow. Once in like 2012, and then once again in 2013. No, at the end of 2011, and then once again in 2013. And it was in 2013 that I believe that my life changed, because I was in school, and it was November. And anybody that goes to college knows that after November, December, you go maybe for 1 week to take the finals, and that's it. Mm-hmm. So that's all I had left, and had to, because of the pressure sore was so bad, I had to withdraw. And so basically that semester didn't count. That semester was just threw away. So that took a toll on me mentally. But also the pressure sore was so bad. There's 4 stages. Mine was with stage 4 being the worst. Mine was a stage 3. My bone was infected. I had it on my left butt cheek. Wow. It was infected all the way to the bone. They told me that they don't know how that my blood didn't turn septic, because the bone was infected. And I ain't gonna lie to you. Me and my mom, I had seen the pressure sore. Because like I said, it was, on the outside, it just looked like a little hole that was about the size of a dime. And we sat there and we put silver ointment and Band-Aids on it to it. And when I went to the hospital, when it finally started making me sick, when I started getting sick from it, I went to the hospital in November. They told me, they said, this is a stage 3 pressure sore. Like this is your bone is infected. We're gonna give you strong antibiotics, but if that doesn't work, then you're gonna have to get surgery to get that part of the bone that's infected shaved off. So I went to Natchitoches Hospital in 2013. They start, to get rid of the infection, they start pumping me with these antibiotics that's so strong, it blew every vein in my arm. Anybody that knows me knows that when I used to go like this, I was very vascular. I was very vascular. If you look now, I have no veins in my arms, and it's all due to that antibiotic blowing every single one of them. So they ended up having to put a PICC line that went straight to my heart. And I fought it for so long because I'm saying, if the antibiotic is destroying my veins, you think I want them to put it in my main vein in my heart? But it's what had to be done. So I spent a month in Natchitoches Hospital, and I'm about to get out, and they come in and tell me, well, the antibiotic didn't work. You're still gonna have to go, and where the surgery was in Opelousas. They said you're gonna have to go to Opelousas and stay up there for a month, get the surgery done, and stay in their hospital for a month. And it broke me. It broke me. After that, I was already low, and it knocked me down lower. Cause you always dealing with the fact that no matter what you deal with, you're always dealing with the fact that I can't walk. And I'm looking at people walking. Every room I go into, everywhere I'm at, I'm surrounded by people that can walk, and I can't. I know I'm the sore thumb, the oddball sticking out. At least that's what it feels like. And so it just broke me. And at that point, my mom was in the room. I said, you gotta pray for me. Because like I said, they're very spiritual. I said, you gotta pray for me. I said, I can't do it on my own. I said, I need God. I can no longer carry this burden. And we prayed, and I believe from that point, God stepped into my life, and he started working on my behalf. So I go to Opelousas the next month, get the flap surgery done, heal up from that. Now at this point, I'm still living with my parents. From 18 to 24 years old, I was still living at the house with my parents. So I get home from Opelousas in February of 2014. And first of all, when I got the pressure sore, and when I went in the hospital in November in 2013, I was 132 pounds. When I came out of Natchitoches Hospital, I was 155. When I went into Opelousas, when I came out of Opelousas, I was 190 pounds coming back home. Biggest I had ever been. I gained that much weight while being in the hospital because I wasn't doing nothing, just sitting there laying around eating. But that was the biggest I ever been. I felt good. So that was first part of my, okay. Yeah. So I come home in February. By that June, I had my first place. Got on housing, got my first place that I lived in by myself. So for anybody that don't have their own house and you under 24, I didn't get my first house till I was 24. So I got my first place. I'm still in school. I'm back in school at this point. The next year in 2015, I'm able, through the grace of God, you know, I'm on disability at this point. So I'm getting disability checks. I'm able to pay off the car that I'm driving and get me a newer car. And it wasn't new, but it was new to me. Yeah. So I'm able to, and I'm doing this with a disability check. I'm able to get a new car. So I felt that was a blessing. That was in June of 2015. December of 2015, I graduated college. I had a cousin that came to me and had favor with me and said, I think I can help you to get a job at the food stamp office if you can pass the professional level exam. Now, I had been out of school since December. I took it in the last part of January, so I was still kind of fresh. I was able to pass the exam on the first time, and I'm the second youngest person that was in the room. Everyone else looked to be in their 30s and 40s. I was 20, I think I was 26 at the time, taking the test. So they told me, they said, all right, you passed the test, now you just got to wait for your interview. I said, okay. So I waited for my interview. I did my interview in June or July. And if you remember, in August of they said, okay, you got the job. It's like, now we just got to wait for you got to come sign all your paperwork. Then we gonna, since it's through the state, we gonna send it to Baton Rouge. They gonna sign it, send it back. Okay. In August of 2016, if you remember, Baton Rouge flooded.
You sure did.
Flooded. So, and what made my interview be so late in July was that, if you remember, in the first part of 2016, that scandal happened with Governor Bobby Jindal, to where they put a freeze on all state activities. They put a freeze. So I'm thinking, I'm sitting there like, I just passed the test. They put a freeze on everything. I'm not gonna get hired. They called me in July for the interview. I said, okay, yeah, I got the interview. Hoping came back. Baton Rouge flood. Can't get my paperwork that they sent there back. So I ended up not starting the job till September, but I got the job. And I'm not even gonna lie to you and say I think I got the job because I was just so good. Is all praise be to the Most High, because the fact of the matter is, the only job, I have a state job now, and the only previous job experience I have was working at Wendy's and being a stock boy at a convenience store. And that was in 2008. I applied for the job in 2016, so I basically had no experience. And my mom used to say a prayer every morning for me and my little sister. She said, because they worked at ConAgra, you know, now it's Pilgrim's Pride. And they said it's hard work. Her and my daddy would always talk about how hard it was. And they said, we pray. And my mom would say it every morning. I'm praying that you get a job where you don't have to use your muscles, where you can just use your mind. And I would not lie to you and say that I think I got that job on my own. I think this job came through God answering a prayer for my mom, that she prayed every morning, and it allowed me to get the job and keep it. And then in 2017, like I said, I started working with block builders. And then I ended up getting off my probation period. They made me a permanent employee in 2017. And then in recently, I got to tell my story at Central. And hopefully it helps some kids, you know, because they graduate Saturday. So if it helped one of them not have to go through what I went through, then it was all worth it. Yeah. So as you can see, from 2008, from the night the accident happened to right now, is like I've been doing this. Even though I'm in the wheelchair, I've been doing this. And it all started in 2013 when I told God I can't do it on my own. I need you to get behind me. And in 2013, when he got behind me, 2014 house, 2015 car, college degree, 2016 job, 2017 new team of supporters, 2018 telling my story for the first time. And no lie, on Facebook, I'm not a big social media poster. So the most likes I had ever got on Facebook, I went skydiving. Because remember I told you I wanted to be a Navy SEAL? Yeah. I always told myself, you're going to be jumping out planes. So when I was able, I said, if they'll let me, I'm still going to jump out a plane. And I did it. And it's fun. It's fun. But I was just steady going up. And I just want to encourage anybody that's in the situation that, even though it's a situation that very few people understand, you can survive through it, and you can thrive through it, as long as I'll say three things that helped me. The first was a relationship with God. And everybody might not subscribe to Christianity, but you need some kind of higher power. You need something bigger than yourself. Because if you the biggest thing in your life and life knock you down, then who can you run to? But if you have that higher power and life knock you down, then you can go to that, and you don't have to say, God, this how big my problem is. You can say, problem, this how big my God is. And then the second thing I would say is, you have to have never say never and always try attitude to thrive in this chair. There was so much that they told me I'd never be able to do, and I never believed it. Anything they told me I could do, I couldn't do. I didn't believe them. I'm the type of person, we just had a meeting in Block Builders, and I used to rap. In high school, I actually wanted to be a rapper. So it's crazy that I'm on that I'm on this platform. I always wanted to be a rapper, and everybody told me I was pretty good. But when I got in the wheelchair, certain things I was rapping about, I wasn't doing. And I didn't want to lie. And they was always telling me, well, even though with you being in a wheelchair, that's a good gimmick. So you could be that rapper in a wheelchair. And I was like, nah, because I don't want to be connected to this chair. I don't want to be famous for being in a chair. Then my plan is to get out of this chair, and then I'm not in it no more, and nobody listen. I don't be relevant no more. But they told me I had wrote a rap, and I actually told Terry on, and he in Block Builders, he said, spit that rap you wrote. I was like, no, I don't wanna just do that. And then they got to saying, you scared. And what they said that for? Don't tell me I'm scared or something I can't do, because that's gonna make me do it. Yeah. So you always have to have that. You always have to have that. You can't tell me what I can and can't do. When I went and did therapy in Texas for a year, and they put me on. I could use a walker, but they put me on loft strand crutches, and those are the crutches that have a handle and it brace on your arm like that. Now if you're trying to get a picture of them, if you ever watched Degrassi, when Drake was in the wheelchair and he started walking, he had them on his arms. Oh yeah. So I could already use a walker. Now when you think of a walker, that's 6 points of stability, because you're standing on the walker, you're putting your weight on the walker that has 4 legs, and then you also have your 2 legs. So that's 6 points of stability. When you go from that to crutches, you have 4 points. You have the 2 on your arms that's holding you up, and your legs. And another thing is, you're not falling out of a wheelchair no more. If you fall, I'm 6'1". I'm falling from way up here. And I like I said, I was doing it in Texas. They said, and the therapy up there is way more aggressive than in Natchitoches, because as you know, Natchitoches is like, it's so small that a lot of the therapy here is more based around range of motion for older people. You know, when they get old and they can't move like they used to. But this therapy in Texas is very aggressive. And they said, you need to try to walk on these crutches. And I'm looking at them, and I had never walked on them before. I had really never even seen them. I'm used to crutches that go under your arm. And something in me was saying, try it. But there was a whole bunch of people in the gym as well. And I said, they gonna laugh at me. I'm gonna fall, they gonna laugh at me. But I did it anyway. And I fell. And I kept falling. And they was laughing. And I had tears in my eyes from them laughing at me. But I was doing it anyway. And I mastered it. And that's why I say you gotta push through. Even when it feel like people gonna laugh at you, people gonna make fun of you, you ain't gonna be able to do it the first time. If you wanna get out of this chair and get more stability in it, then you have to do that. And the third thing I say is you have to have a support system. My support system was very, very important. I told you I was in the hospital for 2 months. My mom stayed every day. When I got to Health South, she got there and she didn't leave until I left. We left together. She stayed there every day for 2 months. Wow. That says a lot about what kind of person she is. But that you need that support system, and the reason I was speaking on it earlier is because sometimes they'll be doing things for you and you'll be so caught up in your situation and so mad that you won't even acknowledge the fact that they going through it too. They the ones that's whenever you got to be cleaned up, they the ones cleaning you up, or they the ones getting your chair in and out the car and stuff like that. So you have to be mindful of that. And I also say to if family members are going through it with a person that's in this situation, you also have to see that they in a situation to where they limited. They sight, they vision, I'll say, is limited. And sight and vision is two different things. Like sight is being able to see, but vision is being able to see into the future, see what you'll become. So whenever you're in a situation like this, a lot of times you can't see your way clear. You can't see a future for yourself because I'm in this chair, and all you can see is the immediate. So I'm just telling them, be patient with them, and eventually they'll come out of it. It just take time.
I want to say this. All right, I think Friday or Saturday we have these kids graduating from high schools from all over the world. So like I said, this interview coming out ASAP.
Yeah.
Like, do you have any advice for any student, like, to be like safe on graduation night?
Let me look in the camera when I say it. Don't think it can't happen to you. Because that's exactly what I thought. It can't happen to me. It done been too many nights that I done drove home this late and made it. It can't happen to me. The minute you think that it can't happen to you is exactly when it's going to happen. And when it do, if you put yourself in the situation, you can't complain about it. Terrion, he in the chair, but he was put in the chair. A lot of people that I know was put in the wheelchairs, not due to their own actions. I was put in this chair strictly due to my own decisions. And that's why I talk to the kids about decision making. Every decision have a consequence. Whether it be a positive consequence or a negative consequence, every decision have a consequence. And you don't ever want to get to thinking it can't make the decision, I'm going to do this anyway, and nothing going to happen to me. Because it might not. But we're creatures of habit. So if you keep on doing it, eventually, if it don't get you graduation night, it could get you on a regular night, trying to make it home, doing things that you weren't supposed to do. So I'll just say, just make good decisions and be safe. Don't just think about yourself, think about your family, because think about what it'll do to them. I put my parents in over $200,000 of debt. Yeah. And not to mention, my mom still tells me about getting a call at 3 o'clock in the morning saying that your son is he just been in a bad car accident and he's not responding. He's not responding to stimulus to his lower body. Waking up out your sleep, and this was a night you can't think it can't happen to you, because this is a night that I was on top of the world. I went from being on top of the world to the world being on top of me in a matter of hours. So I'm just saying, don't, for any kids that's graduating or gonna graduate, just take that into consideration. Take into consideration your future, take into consideration your family, and take into consideration your dreams and goals. Because I have a dream and that I wanted to do that I'll never be able to live out because of decisions that I made. And I can't complain about it.